one is, kind of, sort of, not really great. To be sure, it's an obvious improvement from its predecessors in the DC Extended Universe, with fully introducing,
We're not talking about that abomination.
and fleshing out the superheroine, still ends up falling flat on its face, with a choppy formulaic story that leads to a pretty anticlimactic ending, along with other DC-isms that just kind of bug the hell out of me. I'm not gonna get into all of them here, because that would really go into spoiler territory, so I'm just gonna get into the real problems I have with this movie. Leading up to the release of Wonder Woman, my impressions were not at all positive, to say the least. It looked to me just more of the same shit that plagued the other DCEU installments. Some of the same forced cringy humor that ends up contradicting the edgy tone these movies try to go for.
You know they say it's all downhill after the first kiss.
Gal Gadot in every shot looking like she just doesn't want to be there at all.
I am Diana of Themyscira, daughter of Hippolyta. In the name of all that is good, your wrath upon this world is over.
Oh my god, that gave me chills. You said that with such conviction right there. Chris Pine just playing James T. Kirk again. Oh my god, the overabundance of slow-mo, dude. Was not at all a fan of that shit.
Oh yeah, they used an Imagine Dragons song on one of the trailers, didn't they?
Oh my god, that's terrible! I think my disinterest mostly came from me not really caring for most of DC's characters to begin with. Except for Batman, because Batman's cool.
Why did you say that?
Most of the time. So I originally was just planning to skip this movie until 4 days before its release. The Rotten Tomatoes score came out for it, and people went, "What?" And then they went, "This could be the saving grace for DC we've all been waiting for." Don't get me wrong, I was pretty optimistic after seeing that so many critics actually liked it. There's no way the movie could be that good, but hey, maybe DC's finally got it right and made an overall good, solid superhero movie again. Okay, no, they really didn't. Yeah, I'm sitting there with complete utter honesty. It may not suck as much as the previous DCU installments, but people, give me a break. This movie is so far from solid. That same feeling of just plain indifference I had before the movie came out is exactly what I felt like after seeing it. Alright, hold up. Before I just get labeled as the egotistical douchebag with a punchable face that hates women just because I didn't like the movie, what did I like about it? So, color. Color is back in this movie, which is such a great change of pace to where we just got nothing but grays and browns the whole time. Wonder Woman's costume looks especially fantastic. It doesn't just blend into the background like it did before and what it's probably going to do in the future. It sticks out like a sore thumb, which is actually great in this case. The set pieces were all distinct and stunning. The No Man's Land was probably my favorite out of all of them. Gal Gadot was surprisingly pretty thick. Gal Gadot was surprisingly really good in this movie. I thought she was just going to be the sexy piece of wood, but no, she is really charismatic. Absolutely was brought around to the character. Both plays off the naivety and innocence role elegantly. All Diana wants to do is just save the many lives she can being taken through this war. Kinda why we're supposed to like superheroes to begin with. Chris Pine is also a good second lead. He shares a similar motivation to Diana, but is much more grounded in reality. And yes, their obvious romance was pretty damn cute. I liked it. It was nice. Pretty much were the only earned emotional moments for me throughout the movie. Alright, is that enough fair things to bring up? Well, I hope so, because now it's time to cover everything else. The CGI is terrible. At the time, whenever Wonder Woman jumps around, it's like she's slowly floating around like a UFO. It looks so fucking bizarre. The score on its own is fantastic, but in the movie, it really doesn't fit with the majority of the scenes. That epic Wonder Woman's Wrath piece is criminally misused. The scene ends up feeling pretty lame because of it. Alright, I'm gonna play a random scene from a movie and put the music over it. Does this look like it fits at all? The slow-mo. Oh my god. The slow-mo in this movie is what the word obnoxious was meant to be used for. It's everywhere, and it gets old so fucking fast. Practically ruins all the action scenes on its own. Makes so much of the choreography look really tacky. Somebody over in DC watched way too much of 300. It makes you feel like you're just watching one of the trailers again. Whoever was in charge of that artistic decision, don't do it again. I'm assuming everybody's now gonna be screaming at me in the comments going, well, you're just a nitpicking asshole. That stuff really shouldn't matter in the end if the story's still pretty good. Well, first off, no! Even if the story was good, which it isn't, by the way, those elements I mentioned before should still come together to make a film feel overall cohesive. The fact that it's not makes it so much worse. Second, the origin story we do get here is so painfully average, even with two likable leads. The beginning, holy shit, meanders so much. Not helping that most of the scenes in it were shown already in the trailers. It's filled with just exposition, and it makes makes it, surprisingly, feel pretty boring because of it. The only interesting thing that happens is that Diana's motivation for going to war is just given a bit more depth than we're led to believe. When we finally get off the island, it does the fish out of water shite we've seen so many times before in these origin stories. Like, come on, can we not do this for once? What does it add to this movie when the flat British lady is going, that sword and shield doesn't go with his proper outfit, so what? Shut up! I don't care. Just get to the World War I stuff. Should already be enough to show that Diana's in a different environment without wasting so much time. Second act comes around and it's just mostly filled with just fight sequences that feel pretty campy and lame for reasons I mentioned earlier. So Diana's motivation or goal is truly the only thing we're really invested in, and throughout the film, it's actually challenged, leading to a potentially brilliant character arc, something we haven't really seen before in superhero movies. Then around the third act, when it appears to be taking that risk, ends up totally pissing itself away with all the potential it was building up to, for the sake of having a safe superhero movie climax of fighting a giant CGI monster, or the laser in the sky again, with totally not ripping off the ending to Captain America the First Avenger, except it doesn't have the same emotional weight. And Chris Pine's character is even named Steve. Why is everybody loving this movie again? It's so disappointing. I really wanted to like it, but this movie really doesn't understand that we've gone way past this point in terms of the superhero movie genre. There needs to be more than what Wonder Woman offers, and the sad part is, 2017 has given us more. What really pisses me off though is that if this was released by Marvel, people would be criticizing and calling it out for the same reasons I've in this entire video. It's pretty ridiculous. Just because DC can do a traditional 3-act structure fine enough, it doesn't mean they deserve any praise, or that Wonder Woman should be held up alongside the fucking Dark Knight. That kills me inside, let me tell you. The characterization of Wonder Woman might be really good, but the whole movie has as much weight as the first Thor. Don't get me wrong, I love Chris Hemsworth's Thor, he's great, but it should say something that I don't plan on going back to that movie anytime soon. And don't get me started on the second one. So what do I mean? I'm saying that we still need to give DC shit, so they won't stay on this level of mediocrity and keep going till we get something actually great, which isn't Wonder Woman. It certainly isn't going to be Justice League either. I think that's fair enough reasons to why I didn't really care for it, and I don't really recommend it to anybody. It barely does enough to differentiate itself from any other superhero origin movie that comes out every year, other than it looks pretty and women need a movie with a female protagonist to feel empowered or some shit. After I get this review out, I'm probably gonna forget this even exists. That's how much impact it had on me. Just go watch Logan. That's on Blu-ray and digital by now. It's a great movie. A tragic but emotionally satisfying final chapter for the character Wolverine that also pays tribute to a bunch of westerns, which I really dig. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that's still in theaters, go see that instead. A fantastic sequel that further develops each of its established characters, delivering a fun sci-fi action-adventure film that tells a great story of what it truly means to be a family. The Lego Batman movie, while having beautiful animation, is also a brilliant satire on the superhero movie genre, simultaneously being a respectful celebration of the character Batman after millions of incarnations. It is also a great, enjoyable action comedy in its own right. Let's not have Wonder Woman be the leeway from her okay to terrible superhero installments, further growing to many others' distaste for the genre's saturation. Let's have Wonder Woman be the end of it.